What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Jazzmen podcast, the first episode. This is Javin.
I'm Jake.
I'm Spencer.
This is our first episode of it, so if it's terrible, we'll know, and you won't see another one, or it won't even come out. I guess we'll see. But I don't know. What's something about you? I like the jazz. I like the jazz. Do you like the jazz?
We're all big jazz fans. I've been a jazz fan for as long as I can remember. And I feel like, I don't know, we always have really good conversations. So I feel like, I don't know. I feel like we have good takes and we have good conversations. I feel like it'd be good to capture them. You know what I mean?
We have takes. Yeah.
We have takes.
Not good takes, but we have takes.
Yeah, so Jake and I have been jazz fans our whole lives, and Javin just got into basketball.
I got into basketball because of them in 10th grade ish. 10th grade.
I think so.
I didn't have any friends, and so I wanted friends, and all they talked about was basketball, and so I was like, I have to figure out what any of this means so that I can understand what they're talking about. And now I'm here, and I really like stats. I think it's maybe one of my favorite parts about basketball.
Yeah, so now we're here, and we're going to talk about the Jazz's season up to this point, which is the All-Star break. So
right before we play our first game after the break. So
to date the episode, tomorrow will be our first game. So
yeah, tomorrow we play who do we play? We play the Grizzlies.
It'd be an interesting one.
But I guess we could just start chronologically, like in the off season before the season started. So we draft Ace Bailey. Okay, well, if you want to start at the beginning, we get the 5th overall pick, which sucked.
Yeah,
that was
one of the worst days of my life.
It was our worst case scenario.
Yeah, it was.
But looking back on it now, I really like Ace, and I think he has a lot of potential. I think he fits our system really well, and obviously would love to have Cooper Flagg, or even it'd be interesting to see how Con Knippel would have fit in.
I was really high on Con coming out of the draft.
But who else went above him? It was VJ, and then who else am I forgetting? Who?
It was Coop.
It was Harper.
It was Coop. Harper.
Right.
VJ Knippel.
Right. So I mean, I really like Ace Bailey. I think especially lately he's been picking it up. Yeah. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think at the beginning of the year he was really struggling, and has been, I mean, up to this point, right before the All-Star break, he started picking it up and started becoming really consistent with how he was playing. But before, he was really inconsistent, and it was kind of he's a rookie. That's just how it's going to be. But
yeah, he's 19.
It was hard.
Yeah,
it was hard to watch sometimes. We were at the first game of the season, and it was
we saw
his
first NBA points was a awesome fast break dunk.
It was that was honestly
of the night. Yeah, and then
a misleadingly really good game for us for the season. I thought we were going to be absolutely incredible.
And this was when we had Walker as well, which was Walker was a catalyst for that game too, which was he was so good in that game. And then he carried it to the next game too. He had a really good game the next game too.
How many games did he play? Did he only play 5 games?
I think he played
5 games for us, yeah.
5, which
it was 5.
Sucks because he was so good. And I really hope that when we re-sign him in free agency, he won't be demanding so much money, because there's a whole other thing, you know.
That actually that's a good segue into one of the topics that I've been I wanted to broach, that has been really scary but also super exciting if it works. I kind of think that we need Walker Kessler if we're going to get the most out of Jaren Jackson. Because, we trade for Jaren Jackson. It's incredible. Like, we got an all-star caliber player. And, like, positionally, they just fit so perfectly. Like, you have Walker Kessler at 5. He's a rebounding monster, especially on offensive rebounds. He's one of the best rim protectors in the league when he's healthy. He's deceptively quick. Like, I don't think people realize how fast he is. He's averaging like almost as many steals as blocks. And granted, a really small sample size of 5 games, but like that's extremely encouraging. And he was like knocking down threes. His offensive bag looked really good. He had like nearly a signature shot of like the behind the back or like the reverse dunk when you get passed in. And like that combined with Jaren Jackson's like propensity to roam the floor and like be the most effective as a free safety on the defensive end. And Jaren Jackson's like not a super strong rebounder, so like they kind of just fit perfectly. And I really, really, really think we need to sign Walker Kessler back if we're going to get the most out of Jaren Jackson.
I don't see a universe where we don't sign him at this point. Like, he is so key to this team. Like, if we don't sign him, we're gonna be set back for a while, because like you were
really
saying,
hurts us.
Their games complement each other so well, because like Walker is an amazing rebounder, but like at the same time, Triple J is like one of the worst rebounding big men in the league. Which, I mean, he's not a center, but his numbers are bad for rebounding. But like, I think letting him focus more on, like you were saying, being a free safety and like being able to defend both the perimeter and the paint, but also being able to compensate for Walker's offensive shortcomings.
I feel like Jaren Jackson Jr. is a guard in a big man's body. I think
really
that's the things that he's really good at. Like, outside of the blocks, like he's incredible at blocking shots. His best offensive skill set is like his drives, his ISO game. He's one of the best isolation scorers in the league, especially at his size. He can shoot the 3 ball really well. He looks a little funky when he does it, but like he hits the 3 ball at a very comfortable rate. And he's like ambidextrous going in. So like on either side, he's got a push shot that just feels like it goes in every time.
I hadn't really watched much of Jaren Jackson Jr. on the Grizzlies. I don't think any of us have watched Grizzlies games other than when the Jazz are playing them.
Yeah.
I liked him, but I think I was upset that he got DPOY over Gobert.
Yeah.
At the time.
Right, that did happen. But so how many games did he play? He only played 4 or 3?
I think he played
3 games. 3 games.
So I've only really been watching him closely for 3 games, but it seemed he was playing so well. And yeah, you mentioned the push shot. Felt like every time that push shot would go in, and man, like I hope Kessler, to go back to Kessler a little bit, I hope sucks it's shoulder surgery, right?
Yeah.
I hope it sucks that it's his shoulder, because you'd want him to keep working on that 3-point shot in the off season and like during his recovery. Hopefully he is, because I mean, can you imagine like if all 5 guys out on the floor can shoot?
I have half a mind to think that he might be like almost healthy by now. Like he seems so like he's already out of his splint. He's not like in any kind of bandaging or anything now. I'm wondering if he's approaching a point where he's going to be able to start to do like return to conditioning.
It would be interesting to think like if the Jazz were competitive, like if we were in the playoff spot, would there be talk about him coming back for a playoff push? Or because obviously we're not rushing him back this season. Yeah. There's no reason for us to.
It's so difficult to know if he would actually be ready come playoff time if we were in a position for playoffs, because the timeline that they gave us for him being out for the season was obviously like give him as much time as he needs because he's like our center of the future. So we'll sit him out for the entire season if it means that he's going to be healthy and have like a long injury-free, hopefully, career.
No, I was gonna say the way that I've been hearing about this injury, just from like news articles and stuff, is that this isn't something that he got in the off season or like during the season. Like this is something that he's been getting or that he's had since college. Like he's been
right. Well, like he'd sit out with bursitis a lot.
Yeah, no, he's been dealing with this his whole career, and he's seeing this surgery as a opportunity to be a better player. Like not even to like just be like a little improvement. Like he feels like he could be a better player after this surgery.
Yeah, and if there is a time to do the surgery to just fix it for good, it's this season. So that next season he'll be back, and then Jaren Jackson Jr. also getting surgery. Also,
that's exactly how I feel about it.
It's good. Like just get it out of the way now. Now's the time. Now's the time to do it. So he's back by next season. But so with Kessler going out, that kind of like segues into another offseason move we made, which was trading Sexton for Nurkic. Because Kessler getting hurt, all of a sudden Nurkic is our starting center. And then also going back to Ace Bailey, I think their two-man game, Nurkic and Bailey, I think from what I can see, Nurkic has been a really great, obviously a great facilitator and a great like playmaker for Ace, getting him his shots.
He's like he's almost like a control post at the top of the key.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like he's like the hub.
Yeah, it's crazy because when Kessler went out, I was like, oh, it's over. Like we're not gonna be good. Like, and this is me. I mean, hearing all these things about him being so out of shape and not even being able to run during scrimmages and practices. And this is like, this is yeah. I was so worried, and it's like I love how Yusuf Nurkic plays because he's like Jokic light to a degree. He's such a good playmaker. Like
we don't need NJ because we've got JN.
Literally. And I think the way he plays, he's not very good defensively. He can be at times, but like he's rebound. Big. He can rebound. He is massive. He is a brick wall on screens. And he can pass like a guard. And he has, like you were saying, he's just like this kind of outpost where he can just go out to the top of the key and just one-handed pass over his head.
His give and go and his DHO game is incredible for his size.
Yeah, and he can shoot. He can space the floor. And like, I mean, talk about his triple-double streak that he had. 3 straight triple-doubles. Right. The first Jazzmen like ever, I think.
I mean, yeah, well, because the last person to have a triple-double before him was Clarkson.
And Clarkson before that it was Boozer in 2008. It was
well, Ricky Rubio in the playoffs technically, but since we're not counting playoff stats, like Nurkic has just been like he's definitely our X factor as far as I'm concerned, and like especially taking on that like like much larger role than I think anyone was prepared for him to take, because we weren't expecting Walker Kessler to go down for the rest of the season with shoulder surgery. Now we have Yusuf Nurkic as our starting center. He was like in the Olympics a few months ago and they were saying he couldn't run, and he looks incredible now. Like that is, he's not going to win MIP, but like that's one of the more exciting turnarounds for a season I've seen in a long time. And it kind of feels like the Jazz are just like merchants for like reviving some random guy's career. We'll see it with like Chris Dunn, Daniel House, kind of. Obviously, Lauri Markkanen having the best years of his career here. Yusuf Nurkic. Like, I feel like we just Mike Conley even like he was.
Yeah,
he wasn't bad, but he wasn't like.
He made his first
I feel
All-Star
like
game
people
for
were
us.
kind of wondering.
He was an all-star.
People were kind of wondering if he was going to retire in the next couple of years, and then he was here and was like our like stalwart point guard for like 5 seasons. Like that's crazy.
I mean, we had to trade him after we traded Mitchell and Gobert because, like, I believe he was too good, and I really do think that he was like the catalyst for Lowry getting his first All-Star nod because
Oh, for sure.
them together was
He just makes the right plays. He always makes the right plays, like every time.
And also, I would also say, like, even like go back a little bit longer. Joe Ingles, like Joe Ingles played in. I mean, he was on some preseason teams, but like us signing him as a 27-year-old rookie, like I don't think anyone, especially like me and Spencer, when
what a
that
move.
like insane. Like I could not believe like who's this Joe Ingles guy and why is he on the court? And then he just like decides to be the
uncle
greatest.
Is this that we just
Literally.
like drafted right out of Australia?
And then like 3 seasons later, he's like the guy that is like he's like the playoff agitator and one of the best shooters in the league. Like I don't think
he was
I
like
don't think
in Paul
anyone
George's nightmares.
Like he lives in Paul George's head rent free to this day. And I think
like that's awesome.
I mean, just shout out Joe Ingles, man. Shout out Joe Ingles. He's so good.
I miss him.
So Javin, you reminded me with the like potential All-Star, and you brought up MIP. That makes me think of Keontae George this season.
I know exactly who the MIP is this season.
Who is definitely in the running. From what I've seen, I don't think he's gonna win it. I think it's gonna go to like
Jalen Johnson,
Denny, Jalen Johnson, or Duran, one of those guys that made their first All-Star game. But Keontae George has been like a crazy most improved player, definitely on the Jazz, making a potential All-Star case.
I think prior to this injury though, like I think he was going to be like an Iron Man kind of player, and like that tweaked ankle. I mean, like even a tweaked ankle is pretty easy.
He seems so durable.
And like, I mean, we talked about this after the first game of the season. Like, I remember talking about like, oh, would we be fine trading him this year? Because we don't know if he's going to be good. And like, because I mean, up until this point, we didn't know if he was going to be like an NBA player, which is insane to say now. Like, he has turned it around.
I would get in arguments with people like about like I still believe in Keontae, but like even I didn't expect him to be here. Like this is just insane.
I would be one of the first people to defend Keontae because he had flashes, but like I never would have thought that he would be a potential all-star and the centerpiece of that backcourt. Like I would have thought, like I genuinely thought it was going to be Isaiah Collier for this season. I really didn't think that we were going to start.
Yeah, Collier has been really interesting this season. I think I was honestly pretty disappointed with the way that he had started the season because last season he seemed just like bound for greatness, breaking John Stockton's rookie assist record. Like that's insane. John Stockton's like Mr. Assist. So like I was like, oh, there's no way he's not like our starting point guard of the future. And then I think it was a mix of like, you know, roster changes and Keontae kind of starting to show his emergence, even though I don't think Keontae looked that incredible at the beginning of the season. There was definitely noticeable improvements, but I was like, I feel like the turning point for Keontae was the conversation that he had with Will Hardy in the Bulls game, because he wasn't playing super well. And then Will takes him off and like kind of chews him out, but it's like it's not like him just like tearing into him. It's like, dude, like what are we doing? Like, come on, let's figure it out. And then it was like from that moment, it's been a complete. He's been a different player. What did he say to him? Like, we gotta patent that. It's insane.
I genuinely think he's been a completely different player since that whole thing happened.
Yeah,
and he's a game winner.
What was because before I go off on the tangent about how amazing Keontae is, Collier would have been my pick at the start of the season, be the starting point guard. And then he started really like just pretty slow. He wasn't getting a lot of playing time. His shot was not falling. And like his defense is it's not great. I think he can be a net neutral defensive player. Obviously, I want him to be a positive
when he wants to, though. He can
well,
be
and that's
really
the thing
good,
is like he's
like defensive player.
An incredibly important part of defense is the like energy you bring to it, and so like he's got energy, and that is an important aspect. It's just he's like he doesn't have like a defensive body. His wingspan isn't crazy. He's a smaller player. He's not super fast laterally, and I think he gets caught in caught around screens quite often. He's not very good at navigating screens. And so like if his shot isn't falling and his defense isn't looking incredible, it was really hard to justify him being the like starting point guard at the beginning of the season. And he looks like a completely different player now.
Yeah. I think he's tapped into that rookie season, but has added way more on top of that. Like, I mean, he's he broke he's the youngest player to have 20 plus assists in a game.
Insane.
From
20 assists is
weeks,
insane.
like last week, 2 weeks ago. But he's also the fastest Jazz player to 500 assists in his career, which is
considering
insane.
We have John Stockton.
Yeah, that too. That's crazy. And then also he has showed off his speed this season. Like
he's so fast. It's
downhill fast breaks. I want Collier handling the ball. That dude, he can bully anyone downhill. Just like he's like a freight train.
The aliens come to Earth, laser pointed at Earth. We have one fast break drive to save the human race. I want Collier.
Hey.
Yeah. That dude, yeah. Considering how slow he started, because he had his quad injury at the beginning of the year, and that's kind of why he got the starting point guard spot. Because I think if it was up to, like, if he didn't have that injury, I think he would have been the starting point guard. Which I think is kind of a blessing in disguise, because I think it really lit a fire under Key to be like, oh, now's my time. Because I think that spot is definitely Key's at this point, unless for some reason Isaiah Collier just like shows a complete different side of his game.
He needs a three.
He needs a 3-point.
to develop a 3-point shot.
That's the only way he's going to take that spot.
It is so hard to be a guard in the NBA with his archetype that can't shoot. Yeah. The only other guards that are shooting similar numbers to him are Dyson Daniels and Amen Thompson,
which are defensive heavy guards.
The problem with that is those are two of the best point of attack defenders in the league. And yeah, they're not hitting assist numbers like Collier, sure, but his defense is not good enough to outweigh the negative that it brings.
It's not good enough to justify him not being good at threes. It's really not good enough to justify it.
And I can't see why he wouldn't be able to develop a shot, but he just needs one. Like this coming off season, that's all he needs to work on. I don't want to see him doing anything else.
Yeah, and so I think because Will Hardy at the beginning of the season, he was kind of forced to choose kind of between Collier and Clayton Jr. night to night, kind of seemed like. But now Clayton Jr. is gone, so Collier's going to get all that all those minutes in the second half of the season. Which, speaking of the trade, so wanted to get like your thoughts on it. Like we trade away Clayton Jr. and Hendricks, which are probably, I mean, obviously the two more valuable players we gave up. I mean, we gave up Kyle Anderson and Niang as well as 3 first-round picks.
Bummed to not see Niang play for us again, but
yeah, love the
he's
minivan.
old. Yeah.
Yeah. So Clayton Jr., I thought he was awesome. I thought he was going to turn into a great point guard for us. I hope he still turns into a great point guard for the Grizzlies. I think he's had some pretty good games. I think he's out with injury, like the last couple of games for the Grizzlies before the All-Star break. But I'm always keeping an eye on him. I saw Hendricks has had a couple great games for the Grizzlies in those couple games before the All-Star break. The whole Hendricks situation with the injury, I mean, set him back.
Just sucks.
It was really unfortunate.
I was gonna say that's the saddest thing. I was so high on Hendricks coming into the season, and I thought he was. I mean, barring the injury, like an injury like that is gonna be hard to come back from. Like, I mean, case in point, Gordon Hayward. That dude had a freak injury, a terrible, gruesome injury, and he was never the same player. And that is, I mean, sort of similar injury, like, I mean, sight-wise, like under the basket, ankle. I think he dislocated his ankle as well. Wasn't that a thing? He dislocated his ankle and broke it?
So he falls and
it goes under his
breaks. It's under his sock or his it's like right above his ankle, and he snaps it. Graphic.
Yeah.
And then also obviously dislocates his ankle because your foot is not supposed to go that direction usually. And it just like ruined his career basically.
I mean, obviously we don't hope it ruins his career, but
right.
No, but seeing
set him back a year. Really unfortunate. I think Hendricks and Cody Williams I see them as like similar archetype players. And I was thinking like if the Grizzlies were calling and they were saying like we want one of Hendricks or Cody Williams, which one would you guys have thrown in the trade? I think I would have gone with Hendricks.
I would have too. If he doesn't get injured, then it's a completely different conversation.
Sure.
But the way that we're sitting now, Cody just he has so much potential. It's kind of crazy.
It's frustrating. I think I could speak for a lot of Jazz fans saying it's frustrating to see the hate he gets because he did not have a good rookie season. But he has been playing so much better this season. And like that, just the talk about last season, like people just assume he's awful, having a horrible year again. He's been playing really well. And the whole negative 60 plus minus thing was so dumb because he played well that game. I mean, obviously we got destroyed that game, but it's not like it was his fault.
It's just that's the nature of box plus minus. It's a weird stat.
It doesn't represent the full performance of the game because he had one of his best scoring games that night as well. Like I don't think.
Yeah,
he has been improving a lot, and the defense is there. The offense is coming. He's improving.
I've seen him become a really good slashing wing.
Oh yeah, he was having poster dunks like night after night. It seemed like for a while.
I feel like the turning point for Cody, with Keys being with his conversation when Will pulled him aside. Cody's was that I don't remember who the poster was on, but he had an insane poster, and I think it was just that was just the the little gust of wind to get the ball rolling, because after that he's just been like, his confidence looks incredible.
I think it was the
He's
Clippers
slashing
game.
all the time. Yeah,
That
like
Clippers
it
game
was
turned something on for him. I think
yeah,
he was playing he played really good that game. I mean,
he's
our bar for Cody Williams is pretty like it's still pretty low, but like he's been raising the bar every game. And I think that's
he
something that
is
we need to like really like acknowledge that like he's making a lot of improvements. And I think
yeah,
seeing him make those improvements and not show that he's not an NBA caliber like he is an NBA caliber player is like really exciting to see. And I think seeing him take corner threes, make them with confidence, and also being able to like drive in and use his, I mean, albeit like little strength that he has at this point because he's just so skinny, being able to get in there and make shots, is really encouraging. And I think as long as he has to go, like I think he's at a good spot right now.
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad Cody Williams wasn't thrown into that trade. Another person I'm glad wasn't thrown into that trade is Kevin Love. I'm really glad we
yeah.
still have him. I'm really glad we kept him. I'm really glad he decided to stay with the team. There was talks of him getting bought out or waived, traded, whatever. He seems like he's been an awesome vet presence.
I think Kevin Love has come like no pun intended, he's bought in. Like he completely has bought into Will Hardy and like what he's been doing, even though he doesn't get very many, like he doesn't get a ton of minutes, but he seems like he is such an important part of this team. And
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think I like being the 14-year-old Jazz fan, knowing that Kevin Love would have been a Jazz man would have been like blown my mind. Like
yeah,
Kevin
definitely.
Love is one of my favorite players just because he's so fun to watch. He's a great dude. He's done so much for players, and I think having a guy like that on a team this young is so good for like the development of all these guys
Yeah,
because
and Kevin Love, he was on The Old Man and the Three.
Young
He
man in
was
the three.
talking, yeah, he was talking highly about like about the ownership and how like Ryan Smith knows their names. Like he's been around, he's been to many different teams, and the fact that he has such high things to say about the Jazz, and he's giving those words to someone like Ace Bailey, Cody Williams, like all these young guys,
yeah.
is really awesome. I'm really glad he's on the team.
Yeah, I seriously love having him on this team. When he's on the court, he plays great. He plays hard. He's just so fun to watch. And it's not that he has like a super exciting game. It's just like it's Kevin Love. You got to enjoy it while he's here,
Yeah, it's Kevin Love. He plays like an old man. It's awesome. Like he's out there like banging threes, and he'll hit 2 in a row, and it feels like the coolest thing ever because he's old. It's
Right.
cool.
He's playing
Yeah,
the best basketball he's been playing since he was at the Cavs. And I will
Yeah.
die on that hill. He's been playing
Well,
so good.
I don't think the Heat properly utilized him, frankly.
No, they didn't. And I think we're using him well because, he's getting old, but he has a role on this team. Even if it's not playing a ton of minutes, he has a very important role. And he's utilizing it very well, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And I want to say one more thing about Cody that like I thought of it, and part of the reason that he's getting that hate is because like you look at his numbers statistically and it's like, okay, they're not insane. Like he's not Jalen Williams, he's not his brother. His brother is an incredible player. But people are looking only at the box score, and they already have their preconceived notions and their biases about what he was like because last year some Instagram account was like, is Cody Williams having the worst rookie season ever? Insane and not correct, first of all. Yeah, doesn't look good for a 9th pick. But he looks really good right now. And we're a terrible defensive team. so take it with a grain of salt. A lot of times he's the best defender on the floor for us. And that's what, year 2 for him? Like, that's crazy.
No,
His growth
I
has been so phenomenal.
I was gonna say, especially since we're like building a playoff team, I think having a player like
Mhm.
Cody, especially like I think even if he doesn't start in the regular season, I feel like as a head coach, I would start him in the playoffs because of how defensive
Depending on
heavy he is.
matchups,
His
for
archetype.
sure.
Yeah, like it's like when Joe Ingles in the playoffs, like he wasn't a starter like in the regular season, but that Thunder series, he was the starter and he took full advantage of it, and he helped the team so much when he did that. Like I feel like Cody's that kind of player.
I want to go back to the JJJ trade to touch on the 3 first round picks. So obviously that was a message to Jazz fans that, especially trading away our first round pick next year, is that like next year we are pushing for the playoffs.
We're done with this tanking.
We're done with the rebuild. Like the rebuild, like we should be a contending team.
We are rebuilt.
I think we traded away like that Lakers pick, which when we got it looked really awesome because they did not have Luka, and then they get Luka because of that stupid trade. They shouldn't have got him. So that pick's value is not as good as it used to be. And then we traded like the 2031 Suns, which
that's probably the biggest asset in this.
Could be a really good pick. Well, I mean, obviously we'll see.
Who knows what the Suns will look like?
It might not be like it's. I mean, yeah, 5 years. A lot can happen in 5 years. But the other 2 players we get back, Vince Williams and Conchar. I know they haven't.
Jitty. Love you, Jitty.
I know they haven't played much. But what are your thoughts on them?
I think they rule.
I think Vince Williams has been playing really good. I really like Vince Williams, and the little that I've seen of John Conchar, he's been pretty good. He's been pretty streaky, and I think he's just trying to figure out his role on this team at this point. But he brings a lot of energy. He hustles, and I like him for that a lot. Even if he's not like a big scoring presence, if you know what I mean.
He's such a white guy hooper. It's the like play hard, love defense, shoot threes. Vince Williams is probably better between the 2, but I really like both of them, honestly.
Do you guys know their contract situation? I don't. Are they free agents?
I think.
I mean,
no.
How long do we have them for? I actually don't know.
I have this awesome thing called the internet right here.
Yeah, Vince Williams' current contract is he has till 26-27. So next season. He's up. He's here till next season, which is a team option. So technically this is like his tryout. And if we like him a lot, we can pick up his team option.
Looks like that's the same thing for Conchar.
Which I think we should do. I think Vince is a really good contributor off the bench. And if he has to start, I think is an all right starter if need be. But yeah, I think at this point I need more Conchar to like really decide.
It's a very small sample size.
It's an insanely small sample size for both of them, but I think for me, if I were to keep one of them or both, I mean I would keep both, but yeah, I need to see more Conchar minutes, and I think something I loved about
Vince Williams is that he got ejected in that game. Like that's just like who's doing that? I love that energy. That's great.
Chris Dunn or something, right?
Yeah, we don't. The Jazz will get players ejected. That's awesome. I love to see him bringing that energy with like a new team.
Yeah,
it's like really encouraging that he's willing to get mad enough about something in a Jazz game, playing for the Jazz, to get kicked out.
Yeah, I think playoff teams seem like they need someone like that. Like we had Jay Crowder in the past, Joe Ingles, someone like that. I think Cody
Nurkic
Williams is
kind of
obviously
is like
very
that.
young. I think if he could turn into someone like that, that could be really cool. But yeah, it's cool
I
to
think
have
he's got a
someone like
troll in
that.
him.
I think I was gonna say like Jay Crowder kind of had that same thing where it was like I think it might have been his first game or second game against the Timberwolves. I remember watching this and Jeff Teague absolutely bodies Ricky Rubio into the scorers table. And
Yeah, I
Jay
remember
Crowder
that. I
goes
remember that.
absolutely ballistic and just loses it on Jeff Teague. And like he got ejected for that. And that was one of the best ejections I think I've ever seen. Like I was so hyped when I saw that. I was like, dude,
Full Teague
I
time.
love this guy. Immediately I was like in love with him.
You want your teammates to have your back if something like that happens. It's good to like, yeah, that's awesome.
I think I mean the other parts of the trade, I mean giving up um Kyle Anderson and George Niang. I mean, Kyle Anderson, I'm pretty indifferent towards. He played all right when he was on the court. He had some good minutes, but like, I mean, I really did not see a point of him being on the team for the whole
Right.
season.
It felt like whenever I saw him on the court, I just would rather those minutes go to somebody else, literally
And
anyone
I
else.
felt
That was
bad.
exactly my sentiment.
I felt bad for Kyle because he was right in the bench, and he can contribute on
He's still a good
a
player,
good
yeah.
team. Yeah, he's still a good player and can really give teams valuable minutes that like need him. And I felt like, as crazy as it is, we didn't need him. And like I felt like we were wasting his time. And I'm happy to see him go to another team because
Yeah.
I mean, especially him on the Timberwolves when he was on the Timberwolves during that conference finals run, he was really good on that team. And I think
His defense
knowing
is
that
so much better than you think it is because he's
Yeah.
so slow, but he's like got great hands.
Yeah, insanely good. And I think, I mean, George Niang, to me, he's kind of a cult jazz legend. Like that dude,
Yeah, the minivan rules.
I mean, he just seemed like a great locker room guy.
fan favorite.
Mhm.
I really wish he would have at least suited up at least once.
Yeah, it's such a bummer that he was injured like the whole time we had him. But it was,
Yeah.
I think it was at least worth it because we did get to have him like commentating on a couple of games with Big T and Bowler. Like that was cool. I would have loved to have seen him play a little bit, but you know, he's getting up there in age.
Yeah, he's in his early 30s, I think.
Yeah,
I believe
he's 33.
And you know, he can still contribute to teams as well. Like he's kind of in the same boat as
32.
Kyle Anderson. Like when he was on the Jazz, he was like one of the better role players on that team because he would just come in and make a couple corner threes and turn the game
yell
on
the whole time.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like, he was awesome.
So kind of just looking at our roster, I think there's two guys we haven't talked about. We haven't talked about Lowry like at all, and Flip.
Yeah. Well.
So just to touch on Lowry, I mean, he's still like one. I know he's not leading, or he might not even be top 5 anymore, but he was pretty close to leading, or like in that top 5, top 10 range of scoring for a while. I know his averages have come down because just getting less minutes, but
Sickness. He was super sick for a while.
I would love to see him make an all-star team maybe next year. Maybe him and
I think
Keith
he
both
will,
make it. That
honestly.
would be awesome.
I think the goal is to have 3 All-Stars next season. I think that's the goal.
Jaren Jackson's going to get another All-Star on us. I know he's going to.
He will.
Getting 3 All-Stars would be tough, I think, just because of how many All-Stars are in the West.
Yeah.
It's been done before.
But that would be awesome. That would be awesome. I think for that to happen, we would have to be a 1 seed.
Yeah, because I think the one season we did was when we were the 1 seed, with Conley.
That was
Gobert and Mitchell.
Yeah, Spider, Gobert, and Mitchell. There's Spider, Gobert, and Conley. To touch on Markkanen, because I love that. I love that man. Markkanen is so awesome. I mean, we're biased, extremely so, but he's playing at an all-star level, and I think it's kind of preposterous that he wasn't an all-star. But it's the league is just so talented. That's just the way that the cookie crumbled, and this is not going to be the last extremely successful year for him. He's gonna play really good basketball for a while. He's averaging 27, 7, and 2 right now, shooting 36% from 3 on 8 attempts. Like that. A lot of times people say like he's heralded as one of like the best shooting big men of all time, and I agree with that, especially from like the 3. He is almost always compared directly next to Karl Anthony Towns, because Karl Anthony Towns is probably the best big man 3-point shooter we've ever seen. But Karl Anthony Towns is only shooting 5 attempts, or he's only making 5 attempts a night. Sorry, shooting 5 attempts a night at 35%. That's like maybe a down year for him, but Markkanen is playing or shooting better than Karl Anthony Towns this season, and that's awesome.
It is
He's
crazy
scoring
that
27 points a game.
Yeah.
And I was in it. I saw this. I was doing some research for this, and like the stat was recorded like a couple of months ago. Back when he was on like his crazy run, he was averaging 30. But he is, for anyone scoring that amount of points, he is averaging so many less dribbles than the next person up. When he was averaging 30 points, he was doing it around 50 dribbles a night. The next person was Donovan Mitchell at like 350 or something. Like he's just a supreme catch and shoot shooter. Like it's incredible how much he can do without really needing the ball all that much. He's just got so much gravity. He can get in there, and this also speaks to Keontae's ability to play make, of course. But like he'll be up on the 3-point line, and he's just so much taller. He can just shoot over anybody. He can make space. His fadeaway mid-range game this season has been so much better than it was last season. He looks great. He's like probably our best player.
I think so. I think Lowry's ability to, I mean, he's not a very big shot creator, but like him being able to take a shot off a pin down screen is like ridiculous. Like,
yeah,
seeing him like off a screen 3-pointer, that's in like more times than not. And like, I think we really missed that last season. I mean, especially since he was hurt, obviously, but like we didn't really see that much from him in terms of catch and shoot, because I imagine we were trying to like get him to be able to create his own shot more, but like he's just not that kind of player, unfortunately.
From what I heard, that was a lot of what last season was getting him comfortable with making his own shot. And while I definitely don't think he's going to be a self-creator, I think that last season, the fruits of that labor is those like coming off a pin down screen, he's driving in, stops, creates space, turns around, hits a mid-ranger. Like that is from last season. I think that's what he was working on, and he hits those so comfortably now.
Yeah. Like I think he's probably at this point one of the best shooters in the league. And he does it. He's very efficient, and it's not like he's taking a ton of shots and not making them. Like he's taking, I mean, you were saying he's taking 8 threes a night, and he's making a lot of them. And he's making very clutch shots as well. Like he's been so clutch this year. Like especially earlier in the year, like he made some really huge shots. And I'll also add, like, speaking of clutch, like Keontae, like he's also just turned on this insane clutch gene this year. Like this dude is for real. And like every time, like a little tangent, like every time he's had a bad game, like he has had, or like a couple, like a small stretch of bad games, he has always come back and scored like 40 points, 35 points, 37 points. Like he is proving that he is not just like a flash in the pan kind of player. Like he is gonna be here for a while, in my opinion.
He's legit. This is who he is. This is not a streak anymore.
It's hard to be a flash in the pan when you've been doing this the whole season so far.
Well, and him playing so well, I think, is what triggered us to do the JJJ trade. Is like he proved like
we
he's gonna be there.
We don't do it without his play.
I know we haven't touched on Bryce at all. I realized he's still. I know when we had talked starting in like coming into the season, like we say like, oh, like it feels like every time he shoots it, it's going in. I don't know if he's having a down year or maybe every time I watch, he's just not shooting as well. But I don't know what his stats are like. But it seems like he's having a down year shooting.
I don't know if it's a down year. I think he's on I think we're having a little bit of recency bias because I know exactly what you're talking about. I think he's had a pretty up and down couple of months. Like the last few games of his have been pretty inconsistent.
Yeah, and I really don't know like how to feel about this season from him. Like our little saying with Bryce is he never misses twice. Like that is pretty consistent this year. Like he does not miss twice majority of the time. But even then he's been really inconsistent, and I think he just really needs to figure that out because he has like insane games, and then he'll go on a stretch where he gets like 5 points, 8 points, 3 points. Like he just needs to figure out, because I still feel like he's trying to figure out a spot on this team, which is kind of strange because I thought at the beginning of the year like he was gonna be like either the starting shooting guard or, which speaking of Svi, we didn't even bring up Svi.
I wanted to touch on Svi because he's a really interesting player to me.
Yeah. But like I genuinely thought it was idiotic that he wasn't starting at shooting guard over like
I just pulled it up. So he's shooting 34.5% from 3 this season.
Yeah.
And his career average is 37.5, so he is having a down year. I mean, we're only a little more than halfway through the season, so obviously hopefully law of averages also goes crazy for him.
I really, because the second half of the year last season was when he really was so hot. Like that second half, wasn't he shooting like 49% from 3?
It was, I believe he was shooting I believe it was like 47% on like 6 attempts a night.
Which
like,
is
it was incredible.
Wild. That's wild. I think if he can tap into that, I think like I mean either this season or next season like would be huge for us. And also I don't know if we talked about Flip, but like that's another one. I don't know how I'm feeling about Flip. He's been playing really good. Granted, he's been playing out of position, but like
he's had a very weird stretch. He's been playing out of position, random minutes every night. Like, we're really putting him through the fire.
I really do think this is a product of the tank, and I think we're trying to make him uncomfortable, so he kind of learns how to be uncomfortable. You know what I mean? But like. Even then, I feel like his season has been pretty, not lackluster, but kind of underwhelming.
It's been interesting because considering the Walker Kessler injury, I think Will Hardy's been experimenting with him a lot more at the 5, which, you mentioned he's out of position. I think he's a 4. I think if we had Kessler with Nurkic as the backup, I don't think he'd be playing much 5. Maybe he'd be having a different season. Probably a lot of experimentation. But I mean, now's the time to experiment and figure these things out.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, shout out to Flip, man. He's hustling every night. He's trying his best. And like, if nothing else, I'm extremely proud of how willing he is to just get it done, whatever, like, regardless of if he's not put in until like 8 minutes left in the 4th, or if he's a starting center, he's doing like as much as he can. He's defending their big guys, and like that is a limitation of his because his wingspan isn't crazy, and he doesn't always have like the correct defensive instincts. I'm always impressed by how willing he is to do whatever the team needs him to do. I think that is like a super good thing for him, and I think it's going to really help his ability to be flexible in the coming years with either our team or if he goes somewhere else, like what he can do for that team.
Yeah, I'll also add like the mental fortitude of like especially Flip and Cody. Like it's been pretty wild. Like Cody is pretty like considering how much hate this man's been getting. Like he seems pretty unfazed by it. Like yeah, he's got to be. It has to be getting to him somehow, but it seems like he's unfazed by this, and he's putting up like he's playing the best basketball. I mean, very short career so far, but like he's playing really well, and especially like I mean, Flip as well, because I mean he's been having to go through like playing out of position and like getting inconsistent minutes. Like that's got to mess with you, especially and after being drafted in the second round, like when you were projected a lottery pick. Like that's got to be really hard. So I think, I mean, shout out to them for being super, you know, the mental strength and like emotional strength of those guys is like really, really impressive. And I think that's something that we got to like really acknowledge.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, we brought up Svi.
Yes, the Svi. Svi is so interesting to me because he's one of our best 3-point shooters on the team. He shoots around at 38%, and like he's just so like he's gonna shoot that thing like anytime he gets it. Like there are times where I'm like, maybe we don't shoot that thing, but like he rips it every time. And I honestly like once I was like comfortable with it and I just accepted that he's a shooter and he's gonna shoot, it's pretty awesome to see him get hot and just like go crazy.
Yeah.
We had like 2 or 3 games this season where he'd come out and hit like 3 threes to start the game. And like that's just fun. It's fun to have a player on your team like that.
I was going to say like the beginning of the year, like I was almost positive that Svi was going to be the tank commander this year because of how much he shoots and the sheer volume and how, I mean, he wasn't insanely
that Portland
efficient.
game.
That Portland game really showed me who Svi
that Portland game. Yeah, that Portland game was both everything that I was worried about with him, but also completely changed my mind on him.
Because he's unfazed. He's unfazed.
Yeah, and then he hit like a game winner.
Yeah, the game, I was like, okay, Svi might be all right. I'm still like, I really don't want this guy on my team. But I'm sold. He has one of the best contracts in the league.
He's so valuable.
We need him on this team because of what he does. And it's not even like we just because of the apron stuff. Like his contract is insanely valuable for what's going on right now. And I think especially having him on this like potential playoff team, I think is really going to be awesome.
Yeah, like having someone that cheap that is that valuable and plays the way he does is going to be so important when we're getting into next year and the year after, when we're going to have to re-sign Walker Kessler and Keontae George and like the really lean years where the cap is like within sneezing distance. It's going to be really good to have a guy like Svi on the roster that'll go out and shoot well, maybe win you a game or two, and not absolutely drain the bank.
Yeah, the players like that are insanely important, like especially in this league. Like, I mean, majority of the Thunder's contributors last season were bench players with very low contracts. Like, that's just how the league is right now. And I think if we're going to be doing stuff like that, we need to be taking advantage of kind of not necessarily low value players, but like being able to see the like the potential of having like low contracts, like low contract, high contribution, if that makes sense.
The really economic contract players.
Yeah.
I think any championship run needs a little luck with having someone off the bench that just sprouts that season or that playoff run. Someone that surprises you defensively or offensively.
Prime example is Danny Green in the Spurs championship.
Right.
Like that, Danny Green, I mean, he broke record. Didn't he break a record that series? Something like that. But, I mean, like, without Danny Green, they wouldn't have won.
And like on the other side of that, like the painful one, but you look back a couple of years, we see Terrence Mann shoot us out of the playoffs. And sure, the Clippers didn't go on to win the chip, but like
you need a couple just lucky performances like that. A guy that can win you one playoff game.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if he can win you one playoff game,
he could win us one playoff game.
I think
so.
He has the potential to go off.
I know in our next pod we're gonna go into what we want or expect for the second half of the season. Are there any other topics up to this point that you want to touch on?
I just want to shout out Will Hardy too. Like,
that
dude is a total stud. He's for real. He's one of the best coaches in the league right now, even though the record doesn't really reflect that. I think this guy is gonna be the Zen master of this.
He's an offensive savant.
His offensive, like, I don't even know, like, just his offensive identity is so the insane amount of sets that he plays, and they're all insanely unique. Like, I mean, majority of the time, a lot of those sets are really different from other teams and are kind of NBDs, like they've never been done at, like, in some points, you know. And I think he's an offensive genius. And the only thing is, I imagine, I mean, we'll talk about this later in the next episode, but like Triple J is going to help with those defensive issues. But I mean, on top of that, he's insanely hard on his guys, but like it's because he genuinely cares about them as people and wants to see them grow. And I think, I mean, seeing that one clip out of context, you could totally be like, oh, this guy's like a total scumbag, right? Like, but he's doing that every night, and you know, he's like a friend to a lot of these players, which I feel like has never been seen before. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but like this guy seems insanely relatable, and like he really truly cares about his guys. And I think that's probably the thing that when it's all said and done will probably push us over the hump.
I agree. I think that something that I feel people aren't always seeing from Will Hardy, because everyone sees him, you know, tearing a new one with his guys when they have their third defensive lapse of the night, or we're getting blown out by like 40, or, you know, he pulls this guy out and he's chewing him out. But I feel like people aren't seeing the extreme humanist side of him. He's like such an emotionally in tune leader. Like, so many interviews with him on like the Jazz YouTube channel and like podcasts that he's interviewed for. He, and like, you know, post game pressers, he's always talking about like the emotional side of it, and like supporting and nurturing these young guys as like people and helping them succeed just in life. Like, that's an incredibly important and special thing that I don't think we're seeing from other like top coaches in the league. And, you know, maybe I'm not super tuned in with like the Dagnalts and the Charles Lees and the Jordy, what's the Spurs head coach name? Jordy Fernandez? Is that their coach name?
Yeah.
Whoever the head, I'm gonna look it up. I have the internet right here.
I wanted to touch on, just say, like, it's got to be, he's kind of put in a tough position because obviously he's a head coach. He wants to win, and he's kind of, you know, I don't know who's telling him, but, you know, like, we're not trying to win, and that's got to be a tough situation. It's
Yeah.
going to be really interesting and fun to see next season where we're trying to win. Because I mean, if you look back, like before the season started, I mean, I don't like to look at like betting odds or whatever, but odds were having us like with one of the worst records in the league,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
we surpassed that. Like
Pretty early on
very clearly. Yeah, we proved very early in the season that we are not the team that all these people expected us to be. I think, yeah, Will Hardy's a big part of that. Yeah, I'm really excited to see how he does next season with, all these guys unlocked. We're trying to win. It'll be really awesome.
I was completely wrong. Sorry. Jordy Fernandez is the Brooklyn Nets head coach. Spurs head coach is Mitch Johnson.
Yes.
Listen, they're both black and white team colors.
Okay. I'll give you a pass.
Lack of ball knowledge aside, yeah, I think that Will Hardy is built for playoff basketball. I think that he understands the way that like games need to be won, the way that his guys can set themselves up defensively. He's an offensive like virtuoso. I love the way that he runs his sets. He loves his dribble handoffs. He loves his screen assists. Like he can get the most out of guys like Yusuf Nurkic and Ace Bailey, Keontae George, Larry Market. Like he runs duos so incredibly well. So I am very excited to see him in a playoff setting with proper tools and like meant to win games. And I think that that's going to be a really fun time to be a Jazz fan.
Yeah, I'm definitely very excited for next season. Any other topics you want to touch on?
I think that's it.
I do. If you guys had anything
I know
else
we're running
add.
long, and it's going to be a longer episode because it's our first ever, and I mean we have half the season to talk about.
Yeah.
What did you want to bring up?
Well, okay. So I'm a bit of a stats guy. I like to just look at stats and see where they might, like what story they might tell, how they might move and separate guys from each other, and like stats give like a very interesting perspective. And if you know me or any of us, we love Randy Foye. He's just awesome. Love that guy. Clutch beyond belief for considering he's just like probably just a random role player, but I love the guy.
I mean, okay, well that stems from we watched one Randy Foye highlight clip, but it seemed like every shot he was making was like in the fourth quarter, final 2 minutes, so he just seems like this insanely clutch player. I mean, when he was on the Jazz, I don't know what year that would have been.
2012, I think.
So
2013.
yeah, so he was only with us for like a year or two, right?
Yeah, I think like 1 or 2 years.
But so I guess it's kind of a joke that he's like this insanely clutch player, which may or may not be true, but it seemed that way from that one YouTube video.
Man, that 5 minute YouTube video of him just hitting 3 after 3 for the Nuggets in like every fourth quarter ever.
So awesome.
Like I can't. Who else is that clutch?
I like seriously, like it's crazy.
It's insane. So I decided to make a fun little metric. Honestly, really doesn't have anything to do with clutch performance. I just really wanted to name something after Randy Foye because I don't know if anything is named after Randy Foye. But I call it the Foye factor, and it's a metric that kind of it takes into account a player's their production on both ends of the floor, how efficient they are, how much time they're playing, and you kind of throw it all together in a mishmash, and you just get like a number, and it's the Foye number, and that is my own personal like way of ranking players. I don't have a super accurate like up to date Foy factor set right now because it's the
Still in the
All-Star
works.
break.
Still in the works.
Yeah, no one. Well, at the All-Star break, there's inconsistent time, like who's playing, who's not playing. In the future, it's going to just be like I'll pay attention to who's playing or who played the best during the week, and if they played enough time, I will do the math and see who had the best Foy factor number. And every week they'll get the Randy Foy award.
For that week.
But yeah, for that week. But for the numbers that I threw together, I have a few players. We have Keontae George, who is at a negative 2.2. And a negative sounds pretty bad. And it's because the Foy factor metric is working heavily with offensive rating and defensive rating. And so if your defensive rating is really bad and it's worse than your offensive rating, then it's going to put you into the negative. It doesn't necessarily mean they're a bad player. It doesn't mean like that they're like bad defensively per se. It's just where your ranking is like an all-around guy. We have Keontae George at negative 2.2, which isn't great. His offensive rating was pretty all right. For what I pulled, he was averaging 113, but his defensive rating was 127, which is pretty rough. I also pulled some numbers for Larry Markkinen, and he's at a 3.8 positive, so he's a lot better. We've got Shea, who is just a Foy machine from what it looks like. He's at a 4.8. He's like one of the premier two-way players. A Foy machine. He's just one of the most premier two-way players in the league. So it's really not a surprise that he is just killing it. An interesting one that I pulled was Jokic. And Jokic has been injured. Like, he was just barely injured and he was out for, I think, a month, almost maybe 2 months. Like, he was out for a while. And then he came back, played a few games, and then it was All-Star break. So his numbers are not the best that they are during the season, and I'm sure that later on in the season I can pull it and he'll look a lot better. But he was at a negative 0.54 for the past few games that he had played.
I know the Nuggets haven't played insanely well since he's returned.
Right.
I think they're about they played like a 500 team in those couple of games before the All-Star break.
He's super close to being a neutral. His offensive rating was 111, and then his defensive rating was 114. So it's close. But the Foy numbers are they target guys that are both proficient in offense and are not letting people score on them a lot on defense. So Jokic is, as much as the offensive virtuoso that he is, he's not always the best defender, and that's been that's been used to detract from him for a while. I don't think it makes him any less of an incredible basketball player, but just something to think about when I'm just trying to put the stuff in context. So yeah, and in the future, that metric it'll be more consistent, and I'll just have like one of the guys throughout the week and be like, this is, he was the best Foy guy.
Foy factor player of the week.
He was the Foy factor MVP. And if I'm lucky, that'll become the new LeBron stat, and I feel like it will. So just stay tuned for that. And if you want to start doing the Foy factor thing on your own, go for it.
Well, explain how to calculate the Foy factor.
Okay. I'll unveil the secret now.
Oh, unless you don't want to.
I want to be a nice guy.
Maybe don't.
No. It's literally just math. It's fine. So all it is their offensive rating minus their defensive rating, and then you times that by their usage rate in percentage, and then you times that by their field goal percentage, and then that's how you get the number. Whatever math that I came up with, I ran a bunch of different ways, and I was racking my brain trying to figure out what like stats I wanted to use. I didn't want to just use anything. I wanted to use something that highlighted what type of player I really like, which is guys that you can rely on, guys that play a lot, and that are two-way guys. I love two-way players. It's my favorite archetype. And so that's how I came upon the Foy fact.
All right. Well, I'm
Shout out to
excited
Randy Foy.
I'm excited to find out who our first Foy Factor MVP will be in our next episode.
Yeah.
We'll get like the first, like at the Jazz's next 3 games probably
Mm-hmm.
into account. But so to wrap it up, so I guess we'll have to do a little of our self-plugging. So I don't know where they're listening to this. I'm going to upload this to YouTube. We're going to have the audio put on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We have our Instagram and our TikTok up, which is at Jazzmen Podcast. And I think our goal is going to be to. This episode's a little long, but probably 30 to 45 minutes once a week, I think, is our goal. Am I? Yeah, is that?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm thinking.
And if we can get if we get 100 followers on anything, we will dump. We'll do an ALS ice bucket challenge. It's 10 years late, but that sounds like fun. I never did it when I was younger, so we could try it now. So just tell your friends, tell your grandma, tell your aunt, tell your dad,
Tell your coworker,
tell your sister, tell your coworker, tell your coworker's sister. And if Randy Foy, if you're watching this,
Randy Foy,
I love you. You're my goat. You're my goat, Randy.
Shout out Randy.
I named a metric after you. Shout out Randy Foy.
Jazz legend.
All right. Any final comments?
No, I think we've covered everything up to this season. I mean, yeah, I think at this point we should just kind of wait till the next episode and talk about what's coming up.
We're gonna talk about post All-Star break, the rest of the season.
Yeah.
All right. I was gonna say, Javin, take us out.
Oh. Bye, guys. See you next week. Hopefully, unless something really bad happens, but I don't think anything really bad will happen. So I'll see you next week. We'll all see you next week.
All right. Yeah.
Hugs and kisses.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Bye.